Yeah. Because at the end of the day, when Betsy and I were talking, I'm like, okay, so Betsy, when did you last see him? She said, Vicky, I saw him. He was doing laundry. Thought he looked great. I said, well, he looked like hell when I saw him, and it was right around the same day you saw him. And so, yeah, so that was one.
That's the guy that OD'd?
No,
That's
he
what
just croaked. He just croaked. I was pissed at him because he left his apartment really messy and stinky. Um,
That doesn't surprise me up here.
oh my God, Matthew, there's so many of them,
Of
like
what?
paranormal experiences. Like,
Oh,
um, your great grandmother was psychic as psychic could be. She used to, she'd get up on a Saturday and she'd say, "Get the house cleaned," and we're like, like, forget it. And she's like, just get the house clean. We're having company. And we're like, okay, Ma, nobody called. The phone didn't ring, whatever. And sure as shit, someone would show up at the house. Or um, she'd say, Marlis is going to give me a call, and the phone would ring. Or, um,
you girls were out doing something bad.
yep, all the time. I mean, it didn't matter what we did. We got away with nothing. Like, and we were naughty kids. And she knew every time we did something. Didn't even, no questions, just she knew. And it was always, well, she'd say things like, oh, I don't know, she caught us sneaking out of the house once. Well, she didn't catch us, she caught us afterwards.
She knew.
But she knew that we had snuck out of the house. And had she not, I mean, had she known about it when we did it, she would have kicked our asses. Grandma was really, really psychic. Really psychic.
Runs in our family.
Yeah. Like very.
And here, look at the way Amanda, Amber, and I are.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all three of us will get a bad feeling at the same exact fucking time, and it's like a wave of anxiety folds over us, and we could be doing something happy, no stress, no nothing, but
And then all of a sudden we're like,
yeah,
we all do it.
we all
Oh
feel
my
it
God. Okay, so
immediately.
here's one instance. So I used to work in Deerfield, and I traveled from Antioch to Deerfield, and I came home late at night, and I would see 3 blankets laying on the side of the road, and I was like, I thought it was Jared. I was like, something's wrong. There's these 3 blankets, and I'd go to work and I'd tell my boss about it, and I'd tell the kids about the blankets, and
I remember this
yeah,
vividly.
and I would, one night I actually stopped, and I was going to get out of the truck. I was driving the truck, and I was going to get out of the truck, and I literally froze right there, just froze. I couldn't get out of the truck. Well, and that went on for months, like months. And during the day, the blankets weren't there, and it wasn't snow, and they were never there on my way to work. They was there on my way home. And so, Auntie Amber's boyfriend, right where those 3 blankets were laying, had a car accident.
Yep.
Like right across. These blankets were here, car accident was here.
And the car basically almost ended up in the tree 20
Yeah.
foot up.
But that morning, Dougie and John Milroy, was it? Were supposed to be in the car with Tim.
Tim was supposed to, Dougie and Milroy were supposed to go down to Streamwood with Tim to get applications and everything for ChemLawn, and
Yep.
Tim got all coked up and drunk off his ass, got into a fight with Amber. Dougie broke up the fight, and then that's when Tim was like, "Oh fuck you, you know, you guys can fucking stay here." And then, sure
Yeah.
enough, boom, fucking accident happened the next morning.
Yep. So
Mhm.
mine are oh, when I was really young, my aunt used to live in a farm, and we would go stay at the farm with my aunt, and um, there was a rocking chair upstairs in the hallway.
Oh god, dude, don't tell him this.
Why?
That fucking creeped me out hearing that shit when I was a kid.
So um, it would literally just randomly rock back and forth, back and forth. Um,
Mm.
God, there's a lot.
Tell him about the alien.
So when I was about, so I've actually tried to research to figure out if there were more sightings at that same time
Mm-hmm.
in the same area. So I was about, I would say 10 or 11, and my mom, Leonard and Carol, which were like 2 and 3 at the time, my sister Lynette, we were in the car. So we lived by the airport. The airport, the bridge where this happened at was probably 4 miles. And we were in an big old car going to pick up our cousins. So we come around the corner, and there was a 1-lane bridge. And on top of the bridge, there was a sphere, a whatever, what do you call them? Dome, spinning, and you could see the lights. We were that close to it. So my mom was like stepping on the gas, stepping on the brake, stepping on the gas, stepping on the brake. And so we we were like at that bridge. We couldn't cross the bridge while it was there. And then all of a sudden it wasn't there, and it was above the house that was close to the bridge. And then it was smack gone. So it was probably a 5-minute drive from our house, and we didn't show up for an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't know what happened.
But there's lots of shit like that up north.
Yeah.
Like the first time I seen ball lightning up there, like I didn't know what the fuck it was until about 3 years ago when I actually seen the same exact thing on a fucking YouTube short of all things with a
Well,
ball of lightning just floating in the air, and you can see the lightning going up and arcing, and it's just floating. I seen the same exact thing when we lived on Little Gilmore in Minong,
I'm sure.
down by the bridge, because I walked down to Ashley's house, and I remember chilling on the bridge, and all of a sudden I see in the tree line the opposite of me, there's just this ball of light just
Coming.
moving really fucking weird. And it's just, it was all over the place, and it was making this like arcing sound. And I remember staring at this thing for like 15 fucking minutes, and it kept going, and just, I mean, ooh, it was so fucking crazy looking. And then it just all of a sudden a bright light, and it was gone. Like just poof, gone. No sound, no nothing. And I remember coming home and telling, I believe it was Amber and Tim, like what had just happened. And they're, oh, you're full of shit, you're making stuff up, da 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 da. And then not even a week later, Zach and the one guy that used to work at the restaurant said that they, down by Carol's house, remember
Yes.
when we drove down there?
Yes.
He was basically,
We were looking for.
yeah, he was saying the same, the way that it sounded, the way that it looked and moved, word for word, exactly what I was saying to Amber and Tim. And it blows my freaking mind that
It was
a lot of the
there.
stuff that goes on up there, it's like,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's very. very well. It's
Weird.
magnetic.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of
Got
magnetic
the copper,
fields.
the quartz.
Yep.
Like
When Lexi was about
3.
3,
Mm-hmm.
she had 2 dolls. She said, "This is baby Sarah and baby Henry." And so I was like, "Oh, they were so cute. Baby Sarah's so cute." We were playing like, "Oh, let's dress baby Sarah up," and da 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 da. So we were going up north, and she was just talking about baby Sarah and baby Henry and going. I mean, she was obsessed with these 2 dolls. So, and I actually have a picture of this. She
Mm-hmm.
wanted to go to the cemetery and play by the lambs. And we're like, "What lambs, Lexus?" "The lambs, Grandma. We're going to go play by the lambs." So, my favorite place to go up there is to the cemetery. I love that cemetery. It's so beautiful.
It is.
And it's got a lot of old stones and so forth and so on. So, anyway, we were talking. A friend of mine, Penny, and I were up there, and we were talking about my grandpa Jack, who had a ton of money, and he never believed in a bank, and he buried money, and their house. No, I hadn't talked about the house burning down. And Lexi says, "I know where it's at. It's all black around there. It's very black." And I'm like, "Oh my God, their house burnt down."
Mm-hmm.
So we go out there, we're looking, and then we go to the cemetery. And I never put 2 and 2 together that Penny Joe and my little sister both have lambs on their graves.
Mm-hmm.
And so Lexi was running, and I wanted to get a picture of my mom and dad's headstone. So I turned around with the camera and snapped a picture. And Lexi was running and playing. Like,
And you just see.
you see a orb literally following her, like right behind her.
Yep, and it was too. 'Cause
Yep.
I remember seeing the pictures after Amanda got them developed when me and actually your mom
Yep.
went up there. And yeah, I was even like, what the hell is this?
Then she wanted, like, during when we were there. So anyway, when we're standing there, so I look down and I look at my grandfather and my grandmother's headstone, and his name, and I never knew his name, was Henry Alexander McFarland. And Grandma Sarah, which I never knew, her name was Sarah and Henry. Sarah and Henry, the 2 dolls that Lexi had been playing with. So they were communicating with her. I have no doubt on that. And then she was saying, she was like, "We gotta go by the frogs." And so, I mean, literally, we were chasing her all over the cemetery, and she was playing with someone because you could see that she was playing with them. And then, so we come up on, she's like, "Doom, doom, doom." She darts right over to a frog on a grave, which was a really old gravestone. I had a picture of that too.
Yeah, it was from like the 1910s,
Yep.
1920s.
Yep. So that's another one.
Again, our family is very, very sensitive to
Yeah.
certain things.
Yeah, I don't know if we're like intuitive or.
I think. Okay, here. Caitlin put this the best way that I could possibly imagine. The show Outlander. Some people can hear the bees sound by the stones, other people can't.
Right.
She said that we would be someone who could hear
The bees
and travel through, but her family and her side would not be able to because they don't hear it, they don't see it.
They're
I
not
think
open to it.
I think our minds are just naturally open to certain things.
Yes.
And lots of things that we still can't explain or know or just
Right. I think it's It's genetic. I
I-
think it's very genetic.
I
It's-
personally think it is.
And I absolutely comes from my mom's side of the family, which I need to get my DNA done. I got my DNA test out there, which that's where the Wales, that's where we come from, is Wales, Ireland.
Mhm.
And it will show more on mine.
Oh, dude, on mine it's showing like fucking 4% Irish,
Hmm.
but apparently we have a shit ton of Scandinavian and Swedish.
Yeah, that
which-
would be my dad.
Yeah,
It's my dad, I think.
Rabbit's back.
Pretty sure that's my dad.
You know, I think I'm gonna go grab the 22.
No.